is, say, we're currently giving too much to Israel.
That's correct.
This is something that we've definitely seen in California. I mean, we just had the California Democrats met in Sacramento, and pro-Palestinian protesters essentially shut it down. But here's what I want to know: these Democrats who are disenfranchised, where are they going to go? Are they going to go vote for Trump? Is that what you're seeing?
It's a good question. Right now we are seeing that they're certainly interested in Trump. We're still 1 year out from the election, so a lot of things can change. But we are seeing a lot of these younger disenfranchised Democrats at least showing interest in Trump, feeling frustrated with Biden. We also know that group is a lot less likely to vote overall, historically, than older voters. So it's possible that some fairly large share of them will not vote.
Do you know where people are getting their news in that age group?
Yeah, one of the really interesting findings that we had here was we looked at people who are TikTok users, and granted, TikTok users are generally younger than the public overall, but even when we just looked at younger TikTok users, we saw that there was a big difference between young people who use TikTok and don't in how they're thinking about this conflict. Younger people who use TikTok are a lot more likely to say that they're personally more sympathetic towards Palestinians than Israelis. They're more likely to have frustrations with how Biden is handling the conflict. So that sort of news environment, we are seeing differences even among young people.
It's kind of interesting how the questions were posed as well, because you didn't ask, but did you ask specifically about Hamas? Hamas, an extremist fundamentalist Islamic organization that wants to install a caliphate and destroy the state of Israel. So how was this? And then you've got the Palestinians, and I feel like things are converging here, and there's a lot of confusion. I mean, because there is, you can be against Hamas and for the liberation of Palestine.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, and I think that was one complication for us in designing this poll. A lot of other people, we're not the first to be asking questions about this, and a lot of other news organizations have asked that exact question to sort of tease out those differences, and that's really been shown. And so we didn't think we could provide a lot of new information in showing that again. So we tried to take a different approach at looking at other parts of the conflict. But you're absolutely right that is an important distinction, and we've seen that in polling over and over, that there are lots of people who can be very pro-Palestinian and have lots of issues with Hamas. It was more a question for us in designing the questions that point had really been made in polling, and it was pretty clear.
So what I'm getting here is there's a lot of confusion, and some perceptions actually run counter to each other. It's like we don't know exactly why we want this, but we want this.
I think this is a conflict where there are a lot of conflicting views for a lot of Americans. And one thing that I think is most interesting about our data is, we conduct polls all of the time, and people are allowed to, with any question we have, say that they don't know or they're not sure. And the share of people saying that they don't know or were not sure on a lot of these questions that we were asking about the conflict was much higher than we see with other questions where we ask about day-to-day political life. So this is really a place where a lot of Americans have conflicting views, feel uncertain, are not quite sure, and we want to give them a place to express that view in our questions. But I think it's really interesting that the share saying that was particularly high this time around.
Did you inquire as to how much influence they think the U.S. actually has here?
That's not something that we got into in this poll. So we did ask about aid to Israel. We didn't ask about influence in particular.
Ruth, I'm curious, this of course is a very big geopolitical topic. Are there other topics, areas of geopolitical influence where you're seeing similar age disparities in how they're viewed? Like Ukraine and Russia, for example.
We are not seeing nearly as big an age split on Ukraine and Russia. I think that's a place where there are some minor age differences, but the gaps are not nearly as wide.
So what do young people feel about aid to Ukraine?
And I actually did not ask about that in this poll.
So you've been doing these polls for a long time. How much is expected to change as we get closer to the election?
I think there's reasonable expectation that it could change a lot, which I know isn't a very clear answer. I think it's really hard to know. Anytime that we are doing something this far out from an election, we're trying to predict who is likely to vote. And if you think about it, if you're thinking about something you're likely to do in a year, it's really hard to know. We have a lot of indicators that suggest, people who have voted in the past are more likely to vote in the future. People who, are paying more attention are more likely to vote in the future. So we look to those indicators to see. I think there's reason to believe that these results are an indication of where people stand now. How that will change, it's hard to know, but I do think a lot of people are feeling frustration with the Democratic Party, and particularly with Biden at the top of the Democratic Party, and that's something that could really stick around for a while.
How big was the pool of people you surveyed?
We surveyed just over 1,000 registered voters nationwide.
And how impactful is foreign policy on voter perception just in general?
So that's the challenging thing here. Foreign policy is often not that impactful on voter perception. It's something that's happening elsewhere. It's something that people don't always think about. We ask people in most of our polls, what do they think is the most important problem facing the country today? And the share of people who pointed to foreign policy, whether it was conflict happening in Israel or Ukraine or just foreign policy more broadly, that was right around 5% of people. Instead, we had 34% of voters, a much larger share of voters, saying that the economy and inflation were the most important problems facing the country today. And that's something we see pretty consistently in our polls, that issues like the economy really edge out everything else and are pretty top of mind when voters are thinking about who they're going to select.
Yeah, it's the economy's stupid, right? During the Clinton campaign, that's how they were talking. What else is important to voters? We talked about international stuff. We talked about the economy. What else are they looking at?
And where does abortion jump in there?
So abortion is actually relatively low in this poll. Less than 1% of voters said that abortion was the most important problem facing the country today. When we asked this question last fall, when abortion was more top of mind for a lot of voters, we saw about, I think the top was a little less than 10% of voters saying it was the most important problem facing the country today. So still a small share of voters, but much larger than it is today. Instead, we have people pointing to immigration as the most important issue, polarization, the state of democracy and corruption. Those are the things that a lot of people are thinking about when they're thinking about the most important issue. And I really can't stress this enough, the economy really dwarfs all of those. And it really is, I think, an amazing thing to see that the economy is just absolutely swallows other issues that people might have.
Thank you so much for being our guest and for all your insight this morning. We've been joined live on the KCBS Ring Central Newsline by Ruth Gelnick. She is editor for news surveys at the New York Times, which conducted this research. She previously spent 15 years at Pew Research Center, focusing on voters and understanding Americans' views on societal change. And you can listen to this entire interview and past experts on the Odyssey app. Download the app on your smartphone and favorite KCBS radio. The interviews are posted in the on-demand section, or you can use the rewind feature to listen to it back. We've got some wet roads, and we've got some problems because of that. Dave will have the details in 2 minutes.
I'm Omar House, and I want to be your advocate. HASLaw.com.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising! After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
better than online and at the club?
I know! Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't, you'll be sorry. In Mountain View, San Mateo, Union City, Dublin, and San Rafael. Video only.
Are you saying John buys Bay Area houses will buy any house, no matter the condition?
That's right. Any house, any condition, anytime.
I really don't have to do any repairs?
No repairs. John will buy your house as is.
What if it is just an old inherited house?
John will take it.
Well, what if it has problematic tenants?
John buys Bay Area houses, we'll take it.
What if I want to leave stuff behind when I relocate?
Take whatever you want and leave the rest. Just call John at 510-426-7000.
They will really take care of everything?
Sure. And all that service is free with no fees, no commission, and especially no hassle. Just call 510-426-7000. John buys Bay Area houses is the best solution for you. Just call 510-426-7000. You have nothing to lose. 510-426-7000.
Come see the trees dancing with light, a musical show that's sure to delight. Pick up gifts, have dinner and wine. The holidays are happening at Pier 39. Tree lighting show every half hour from 5 to 10 p.m. Visit pier39.com.
Dave Fouts is watching the roads from your local Honda dealer's traffic center going down to Mountain View.
And northbound 101 near Rangstorp, got a crash. 2 left lanes have been blocked. Sounds like we may have one of those being reopened, so just the left lane blocked. But what we definitely have in the children automatic collision cam is slow traffic, backed up all the way to 237. Santa Cruz Mountains, problematic throughout the morning drive, and now we've got a new crash. Northbound 17 before Idlewild. Hearing it may be a jackknife big rig. Not a lot of details coming out of the CHP at the moment, but we see things backing up once again towards Redwood Estates. Westbound 580 in Livermore near Isabel had a crash blocking lanes. They just moved that off to the right shoulder, but that's why you're seeing brake lights starting at North Livermore. And hearing we might have a new accident east of down 580 near the truck scales, blocking the lane. Not seeing a backup there with the counter-commute nature of that drive. And of course, southbound 101, south of Airport Boulevard, we still have the left lane coned off because of flooding from earlier this morning. No word when they're going to get that reopened. Traffic backed up towards Candlestick. Your next traffic update, 9:48 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Thank you, Dave. Cloudy today. Showers throughout. A chance for some thunderstorms. Gusty winds expected by the water with highs in the low to mid-60s all over, dipping into the high 50s and some north bay spots. Tonight, the rain and wind continue into tonight with more chance for thunder, lows staying mild in the low to mid-50s. And for tomorrow, more chance of rain with a slight chance for some thunder. Gusty winds expected by the coast and up in the North Bay. Highs in the low to mid-60s. Traffic and weather together is sponsored by Pier 39.
The holiday season is here, and we're helping you unwrap your favorite holiday track with commercial-free holiday stations this Saturday through Christmas Day. Listen to 24/7 holiday music stations on the Odyssey app, all commercial-free. Discover the best of holiday music of all time with Classic Christmas, or take a note from the king of Christmas music himself with Michael Bublé's handpicked favorites on Michael Bublé Christmas. Your holiday favorite, your Odyssey, commercial-free this Saturday through Christmas Day. Download the free Odyssey app and search holiday to get started.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands to treat ED at up to 95% off. That's right, the same active ingredient as the brand name for 95% less. It's the same ED medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Do you have neuropathy? Are you experiencing numbness, tingling, and pain that just won't stop? Are you taking dangerous drugs that have serious side effects and never fix the pain? If so, please listen to this message. Neuropathy is a serious progressive condition and only gets worse if not treated properly. Call SFA Wellness at 844-94-NERVE to get back to doing the things you want to do. There is no drug, exercise, or surgery that can heal nerves. Don't wait until your condition gets worse and stops you from living your life fully. SFA Wellness has a time-tested, proven track record of helping hundreds of patients to improve and reverse their neuropathy. If you're ready to regain your independence, contact SFA Wellness at 844-94-NERVE. Call now for your $99 neuropathy special and receive a personal treatment plan that is tailored to your needs. Call 844-946-3783. That's 844-946-3783 and start to enjoy life again.
The Tuesday Morning News Watch continues.
The National Retail Federation predicts 142 million shoppers will be hitting the stores this weekend for final Christmas gifts on what's now known as Super Saturday. KCBS's Shannon Golden spoke with almost last-minute shoppers at San Francisco's Union Square.
Last month, Union Square saw a 64% increase in weekday transit activity compared to this time last year. Mayor London Breed says it's holiday activity and shopping that's causing the boost. And as we enter into the last week before Christmas, I headed out to see who's still got errands to run. And one holiday shopper, Justler, is just about there.
Hopefully within the next 2 days. Before Christmas Eve.
According to a recent survey conducted by Bankrate, 2 out of 5 Americans say inflation will change the way they shop for the holidays this year. And Justler has noticed the increased prices, but the shopping must go on.
I've been trying to find specifically things that are cheaper, so if it's out of my price range, I'm not going to touch it.
But the convenience of shopping from home is still impacted by elevated shipping and packaging costs that have yet to ease since the pandemic. Xavier Mendoza says he prefers shopping in stores.
I did probably about a little more than half in store, and then I did a few things online.
In Union Square, I'm Shannon Golden, KCBS.
CBS News Special Report. Washington, D.C. mourns the first woman to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court, Sandra Day O'Connor. In his funeral eulogy, President Biden called O'Connor a pioneer who broke down barriers in the legal and political world.
To the O'Connor family, my wife Jill and I send our love on behalf of a truly grateful nation for her service.
Chief Justice John Roberts.
For nearly a quarter century on the court, she was a strong, influential, and iconic jurist. Her leadership shaped the legal profession, making it obvious that judges are both women and men.
O'Connor, appointed by Ronald Reagan in 1981, served until 2006. CBS's Linda Kenya.
O'Connor was a key swing vote on the court and influenced some of the biggest cases, including those involving abortion and affirmative action. She died on December 1st at the age of 93.
CBS News Special Reports. I'm Steve Payson.
Coming up on KCBS, I'm Kathy Whitman with the best way to enjoy Sierra ski resorts without breaking the bank. KCBS News Time 9:45.
Well, Jalen Hurts had some words, the best words for his teammates after last night's loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Here's Stephen Langford from the Bay Area Chevy View Sports Desk.
This was after the Seahawks backup quarterback in Drew Lock threw the late touchdown to give Seattle a 20-17 lead, but the Eagles still had 28 seconds to get in field goal range to tie it. They're back on the clock.
They're going for it all with A.J. Brown. Catch is made by Seattle. Free interception. Julian Love again.
That was on ESPN. The interception sealed it. The Seahawks upset the Eagles 20-17. Now, Jalen Hurts did not throw a touchdown. He only threw for 143 yards along with 2 interceptions. But that makes it 3 straight losses for the team that was deemed the best in the NFL a few weeks ago. That loss to the 49ers, then they were beat up by the Cowboys, and then last night to the Seahawks. Now, last year, this Eagles offense was humming, and despite all of their wins this year, a lot of them were close games, and Hurts has been reiterating week after week. Eventually, the offense will find their rhythm and get back to the offense they were last year. After 14 games, it just hasn't happened yet, and their commitment is in question. Here's Hurts after the loss.
I've been talking about execution all year, been on the same page, everyone been on the same page, and we didn't execute. I don't think we're committed enough, just got to turn it around. Some challenges that we have to embrace. just continue to see it through.
All is not well in the city of brotherly love right now as the Eagles drop to 10-4. And now the 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens tied for the best record in football at 11-3. And that's the Christmas Day matchup, so technically Christmas evening. That game kicks off Monday night at 5:30. At the Sports Desk, Stephen Langford, KCBS.
Thank you, Stephen. The KCBS Sports Desk is sponsored by the Bay Area Chevy dealers. Visit Bay Area Chevy